Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We hope you're excited to come explore Kochi Castle with us, one of the few original castles left in Japan. We'll also take you to lunch at the famous Hirome Market, bring you to a surprise event on Kochi Castle's grounds, and share dinner with you back at our hotel. Before we get into it, please do us a favor and give the video a like. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Let's go.
Good morning! Welcome to our full day in Kochi.
We're really excited to share the day with you.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a leisurely day. We're going to take it a bit easy. The main thing that we're going to go visit today is Kochi Castle, and I'm really excited about this one for a few reasons. One is because it's a little bit off the normal tourist beaten path. You know, not a lot of people come to visit this castle, so we're going to be able to share something with you that is a little bit unique maybe. And the other reason is because this castle is the only castle in Japan whose tower and main courtyard have survived since the 1700s. Its original buildings are there, and that is unheard of. So I'm really excited to go and explore that. We're just at the start of the approach to the castle. It's on the hill, and so unlike Matsuyama,
there's no ropeway.
There's no ropeway. Check out this video if you want to see us riding a ropeway up to a castle. This one we're going to have to use our feet. So let's get started and get up there and explore this amazing castle. The approach up to this castle is fantastic. Once we had gotten past that little gravel path at the start where we started the day, it came to gardens of the castle and then very quickly these massive stone walls behind me. And you're walking up towards this castle in and among these stone walls, and you can just imagine what it would have felt like if you had to take a place like this, if you had to actually go into battle and try and capture a castle like this. That would be a very daunting task. And I'm standing here still on the approach. We haven't made it up to the castle proper yet, and we can see above me part of the castle jetting out over this pathway. From here you can kind of get a sense of how horrible it would have felt back in the day to be trying to take this castle, finally making it up the hill into the initial defenses. You're very close to getting into the compound of the castle from here, only to see that above you. These iron spikes blocking you from trying to scale the wall here. I could just see people trying to climb over those and then slipping and impaling themselves on those spikes. And if those aren't enough, they have spots here where they can open up from above and drop stones and hot oil down on you. Even though you've made it this far, you'd still have quite a challenge to break into the actual inner sanctum of this castle. It would be a horrible, horrible job to have to do that. This place is amazing. I'm in heaven.
You are. That's actually really cool. And we actually haven't even bought tickets to go inside yet.
No, you can get very close up to the castle without having to pay an admission fee. You only have to pay an admission fee to actually go into the castle tower. But you can explore all the buildings surrounding it for free. It's part of the grounds here, part of the park. So it's really an accessible attraction. It's amazing.
I think we're so lucky because the skies are so blue right now. So the tile work and the trees against the blue backdrop is just makes it that much more amazing.
Yeah, there's not a cloud in the sky today. We got really lucky with the weather. So we have made it to the inner sanctum of the castle basically. We're inside the citadel, they call it. This is part of the reason why I'm so excited to come explore this castle, because the tower and this immediate vicinity here with the buildings around us are all original. They all date back to the 1700s. So this castle was originally built, I think, started in 1601. Took 10 years to build, and then unfortunately the first construction burnt down, and they reconstructed it in the early 1700s. And these buildings they reconstructed survive to this day. That's unheard of in Japan. This is the only castle whose tower and main area has survived all these years. They've survived fire, war, World War II, the Meiji Restoration period, all that. And it's still here. Obviously they've restored it over the years, but it's pretty incredible that it's lasted hundreds of years.
So this is Kochi Castle's claim to fame, that they have original buildings. But some of the outbuildings were destroyed during the Meiji period. There was a palace, you said.
Yeah, I don't know all the specific details, but there was quite a structure below us where we are now, just outside this inner sanctum area, which was part palace, part government offices.
And those are destroyed.
Yeah, those were all torn down when the area around the castle was made into a park during the Meiji Restoration time period. But they left so many of the buildings. Like, there's so many original buildings here to come and explore. It's incredible.
So where we are now, we are inside the keep. So if we were attackers, what do you think? 80% of our work is done now?
Yeah, probably.
90%?
Probably, although if we were just sitting here leisurely, I'm sure we would have been brought down pretty fast. I don't know if we would make it up. So that clip I did earlier kind of was showing how daunting that task would be to get in here. It's insane. So we are going to go purchase tickets and go and explore the actual tower itself. And here's a view of what we're seeing as we sit here talking to all of you, and why my eyes keep darting up that way. As with many things here in Japan, you buy your tickets to the castle with a vending machine. You always put your money in first, and what you can afford starts to light up. And we wanted 2 tickets, so we put in enough for 2 tickets, and then the 2 ticket button lit up. And you press that, and then out pops your tickets. At many of the attractions in Japan, you're gonna have to remove your shoes. And this is no different. This castle, once you go into the main tower, you have to take your shoes off, because I'm sure there's a lot of tatami and old wood that they wanna preserve. So you can go in there and walk on your socks. But there is a system set up for storing your shoes, so you don't have to carry them around at many of the spots. This one included. So let me show you how that works. Always take your shoes off before you step on the wood. And then you can put your shoes in one of these lockers. Close it up and take your key. We just started exploring the actual castle itself, and before we get to the tower we go through a set of rooms, and that feels a little bit unique to me. Usually when you get inside a castle you're pretty much going up the tower pretty quickly, but I wonder if this is part of it being so old and being original, is that these pieces maybe are lost in the old castles, or they don't restore them, or they don't rebuild them for some reason. And there's a wooden walkway that goes around these rooms and opens out into the garden. There's like a little walled garden here at the base of the tower, which is really picturesque, and I really like the wall because it has tiled roof on it and looks spectacular, and I'm getting glimpses of the view that we're going to get from the top. So we are on a hilltop here, and I can see the city sort of sprawling around us, but I can't see a great view of it yet. It's just teasing me. Once we get up into the tower itself, we're going to really get a great view over the city.
The inside of this castle is awesome. You can really feel the age of it.
Yeah, it wasn't false advertising. No, it's definitely an old castle. And you can, just by walking on the floors, all the floors are wood here, and all the planks are creaking and some of them are shifting, and it does really convey just how old this castle is.
And the wood is also very shiny, but not from a gloss. It's just shiny from age and patina.
And I also really like the structure of the castle because it was not reconstructed in concrete or something like that. The original supports are in place here, so you can
They're
see
everywhere.
how many pillars and columns they needed to support the weight of this castle in those days with just wood. We're on the 3rd floor now, and there's massive square pillars holding up the massive floor joists above us. It's crazy.
Yeah, I guess trees just don't grow that big anymore nowadays.
It's harder to find them.
Yeah.
The other thing about this castle that we're enjoying are the dioramas.
Yeah,
they're
love the dioramas.
really cool, depicting castle life back over the years.
I'm laughing because the dioramas have figures that are this big, but the castle walls and other dwellings are like only this much taller. So
Definitely not to scale.
But they're really cute. I like looking at them.
Yeah, and the other thing to note is that there's a lot of English here, eh?
There is. I wonder if it's because they're preparing for the Olympics.
Could be that. It could also just be that they've been making a big push on tourism for the last 5+ years, and so maybe they just went through and made sure there was English everywhere.
Yeah, because things have changed a lot since the last 10 years that we've been coming to visit Japan.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been shocked if we came into this castle and there was no English. Like that was kind of our experiences in the past. When you got to a smaller town or a less traveled town, that there wasn't as much emphasis on English. But here there is a lot of English. It's really makes the visit a lot better because you can get the little details that we would normally have missed. So I think we should continue going up. I really want to see this view from the top floor. I was telling them that it was teasing us from the main level. You can just kind of see over the wall a little bit, but up there I bet it's spectacular. You've probably heard us talk about the Edo period and Meiji Restoration and the Meiji period, but probably haven't given enough context for you to understand what I want to share with you, which is interesting about how this castle kind of fell out of relevance and could have been destroyed. So Edo period, that's basically feudalism in Japan. That was when the Tokugawa shogunate ruled Japan from the early 1600s until the late 1800s. And in the late 1800s, there was a battle between basically the shogunate and the new rule, which was a faction of the Japanese that wanted rule to be returned back to the emperor and for them to set up a government which ended up being influenced by the Western kind of political systems. And during this time when that transition was happening, the Meiji faction and the new government really wanted to impose their strength and make sure that people knew that they were the new rulers of Japan. And so a lot of things from the Edo period were destroyed. That's why so many castles were dismantled and brought down, is because the Meiji government wanted to make sure that people knew things have changed. They didn't want these old relics around for people to hold on to, which is unfortunate now, but at the time can totally understand why that was important. So this castle is interesting because here they're outlining some of the dates around when that transition was happening. In 1869, that's kind of when the new government basically made the decree that all people and land governance was returning back to the emperor, and all of the old system where provinces were ruled by lords was at an end, and castles were very important to the lords and ruling the provinces, so that was no longer a necessity. The last person who lived here as a lord of this domain, he moved out of the castle in 71, and it was around that time when it was actually law that people had to leave the castles, and that's when they started to be dismantled. But this one luckily survived. So hopefully that was a little bit of interesting history lesson. I kind of stuttered through that one a bit, but I'm really happy that somehow this castle was not dismantled. Certain outer buildings were, but the actual inner part was left mainly intact.
It's finally time to get up to the top of the main tower and get a look at the view over Kochi from this amazing hilltop castle. Looking down over the castle, you can get a great view of the castle complex with all of its beautiful tiled roofs. And we can't forget the Shachi Hoko protecting this castle from fire. We're finished our visit to the castle and it's time to head back down, but we're going to take a different route. This morning we took the back route up to the top, which gave us some amazing sights of the complex. But let's head down the main approach to the castle, which is a little more direct and has another amazing sight to check out down at the bottom.
We've made it back down from the castle and we're at the main gate, and this is the main entrance into the castle grounds, and this gate is massive. I wasn't expecting it to be so big, but I guess that kind of makes sense because this is the first line of defense before entering in the castle compound. If you got past this point, you'd still have quite a lot of work to get up to the castle itself, up to the tower, but wow, this is crazy. What's behind me is actually the door. It's pretty big. Pretty big door, and look at these beams holding this up. Those are crazy. They basically just look like tree trunks. They are not completely squared off or rounded. They're just sort of put into the right shape to put up there and hold the rest of this gate up. Let's go outside and get a view from the front. Wow, the gate is equally impressive from the outside, maybe more so. It's really beautiful. It has a really nice roof, and there's a really massive walls around here leading to the opening. So it's not just a straight fairway into it. You can't charge and take the gate. You have to come through a narrowed area, so you kind of would be a sitting duck if you came in here. You can see at the top of these walls behind me, there are holes where probably people were sitting inside with bow and arrow and eventually rifles. If you come here, something to look out for is that there's an amazing photo opportunity of the castle. You can get the main gate and the castle all in one shot, which is a rarity. That does not exist anywhere else in Japan. Just the way that this castle was laid out affords that angle, and you can get both amazing structures in one picture. So keep an eye out for that as you're coming into the main gate. Look up and you'll see the castle, and both will be framed perfectly for you.
I had such a good time at this castle.
Yeah, it was amazing. This is in my top 2 probably of castles I've ever seen. Maybe 3. Top 3 castles I've seen in Japan. And we've seen quite a lot.
We have.
We've seen a lot.
Why do you think we like this one so much?
Key things, I think. One, it is old. Like, it's so old school inside. You can tell that this one has a lot of history and wasn't a recent reconstruction, as we were explaining up top.
Feels very authentic.
It feels, yeah, good word, very authentic. 2, it wasn't a ton of people here.
No.
This is a little bit off the normal tourist path. I mean, we've been several trips, so now we're starting to branch out, but this wouldn't be one of the first places someone comes.
No.
So there wasn't a lot of tourists. There was a lot of locals visiting, and we feel like there's probably a conference going on nearby, because there was a lot of people coming over for a quick visit, and they were all wearing name tags, so it was pretty obvious that they were at some kind of convention or conference of some sort.
It does take away from a site when you're somewhere and it's littered with people just taking selfies or with selfie sticks, and I think this time it was just, we got an opportunity to really just soak up the atmosphere without people like posing all around us.
Yeah, true. And then another reason we really enjoyed it is just because the grounds around it are extensive. There's a big park, there's a lot of buildings to visit. The walk up is incredible. Yeah, it really takes you back in time. I know I said this as we were walking up, and I stopped to talk about it a little bit, but it just does.
Yeah.
Like, you just can put yourself in the position of someone living here or coming up to the castle for whatever reason, and you get that sense because of the walls. It's so imposing.
Yeah, I guess our last reason is just that it is a spectacular castle. Like, on its own right, it's just an amazing castle. The way it's built, the way it's laid out, it's just really interesting.
Yeah, and it's very accessible to English speakers. Pretty much all the signage had English to go along with it. So you got the Japanese and the English. And there were some really interesting insights up there. One we already shared about when this became abandoned. And then another one I didn't realize, I don't know if you knew, before the Edo period, like, you know, before 1600s, castles were more of a rarity.
Yeah.
They weren't built as political or government or ruling structures. They were just temporary war structures. So generally back in those days, the samurai would live at the base of a mountain because they knew that that was a great place for protection. And when war broke out, then they would go up and build some kind of structure on the hill and just sort of barricade themselves in there and fight from there. And then when the war was done, they just abandoned it and they didn't keep it up. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I read that same pamphlet.
Did you? Yeah. Very, very interesting. So lots of factoids you can get up there enjoying this castle. But we are done our visit 4 hours later and we're ready to move on. But we will be back. We'll be back tonight for a very special exhibit. You probably saw some hints of it in the footage we were taking, but we will show you what that's all about later today. But for now, we have to find some lunch. Are you hungry?
Yes.
I am very hungry as well. Let's go find some food.
Yum, 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 yum. I'm so hungry.
We didn't have to hunt for food. We knew exactly where we were going. We came to a market. This is Hirome Market, and it's a bunch of food stalls, sort of like picnic bench seating, and there's also other vendors selling like snacks and clothing and stuff, but we're here for the food.
Yeah, this market's famous. They pumped it up big time at the tourist office, and in all their brochures, it talks about this particular market. It says it's a good place for locals and tourists to come.
Yeah, and so you can go around and get smallish dishes at various vendors to try a whole bunch of different stuff. And we've picked up our first dish at a chicken wing place. They also look like a meat butcher, but they do chicken wings, and I also picked up a croquette from them. You're not even going to explain anything, you're just diving right in because you're hungry.
Whoopsies, YouTube. Whoopsies.
That sounds really crunchy.
Oh my god. This is a very unassuming looking wing. When you bite into it, the skin is so crispy. The meat is very tender. And the amazing thing is it tastes amazing and it's not piping hot like I like it. This is just a room temperature wing.
Really?
Fine, no bite.
Wow.
I know, it's the seasoning.
Yeah, it's seasoned really well. It's salty, which really is making me happy. I've already got this big beer here. I'm gonna try the croquette. This is a massive croquette, and it's a mystery because the only word they wrote in English was croquette. So I don't know what it is, but their wings look so good. I figured their croquette would probably be pretty darn good. So far, it's just potato, but it's whipped up really smooth. I think there's some onion in there. That is amazing. It reminds me of the way I would make stuffing for turkey on Thanksgiving. Really kind of white bread, wet, oniony, bit of that poultry seasoning. I'm kind of getting that vibe with this, even though this is mashed potato, but it's super creamy mashed potato. The exterior is not super thick, but it's super crunchy. You kind of like have to fight your way through the exterior layer a little bit, and then when you get through it, your teeth just sink right through the mashed potato because it's so soft. And now I'm hitting a bit of meat. I think there's a bit of ground beef mixed into the potato in the center here. This is an excellent croquette. If I wasn't wanting to try a few different vendors, I probably would have got a couple of these. These are great. Oh, that croquette is all gone. There was quite a bit of meat in it once I got through it. It was really good. Meat and potatoes. Like, how can you go wrong with that? Deep fried, that's even better. Our second order has come. We put an order in at a place and they delivered this one to the table Nicole is about to chow down.
Just to clarify, the second dish is a dish that I ordered for me. It came with 7 dumplings, and I generously offered Mike 1 or 2 dumplings.
Thanks.
But that was before I tasted them. I completely rescind the offer. No dumplings for you. These dumplings are amazing. They're small. The wrapper around them is crispy and super thin, and as soon as you bite into them, juice comes out, and there's a little bit of cabbage, which I usually hate cabbage, but they've done something, the way they seasoned it, mixed with the meat, it's glorious. So sorry, no dumpling for you.
After all that raving, I forced a dumpling out of Nicole, and she's right, that was really good. She's been eating them in 2 bites. I just had it in 1 bite. It was amazing. Can I have another one?
It's the skin. The skin is somehow like crispy, but it's still thin.
Yeah, it's very thin.
Delicate.
Yeah, it's really good. I gotta go find some more food.
I'm going in for the chunk of fried chicken next. It was promised to be juicy and tender. They forgot to mention crispy exterior. That's really incredible because this is not hot, this is room temperature. And the outside has a very thin coating, or might be a batter, and it's crispy. Just so, yeah, it's delicious. I think I taste garlic, not fresh garlic, garlic powder seasoning. It's cooked so that it's not overcooked, it's cooked perfectly. It's dark meat, which is my favorite. So far, it's 3 out of 3.
I was having a really hard time picking my second dish. There's so much good food, and I'm seeing that bonito is actually a specialty of this region, and that's kind of ringing a bell now. I might have read that months ago when planning the trip, because there's a lot of vendors selling bonito. I even caught one cooking it over a fire of hay. So he's throwing hay into his fire, and it's just engulfing the bonito. It's crazy.
That's what we were tasting yesterday when we were having our bonito, that hay.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, at the Ryokon. So I would have gotten the bonito today because everyone's bonito looks so amazing, but since we had it last night, and I'm hoping that we'll have it again tonight since it's a specialty of this area, I didn't want to get it here. I wanted to try some different stuff. So I just ended up with a set of sushi. So it's 6 pieces of sushi. There's salmon, squid, tuna or bonito, I'm not quite sure, octopus, shrimp, and eel. So I am gonna tuck into this. Let's see, I think I'll try the squid. So they gave me some soy sauce with the grass built into it. I don't know if you have sushi, you know, there's always like a bit of green grass, like plastic grass that comes with your sushi. They've double dutied this one. That's pretty smart. Here's the squid. Put a little bit of that on there. You can really see the scoring they did on the squid. The soy sauce kind of acts like ink and really highlights those cuts in the squid. And that's done to make it tender. Otherwise it would be really chewy. This helps break up the meat a little bit. They were quite generous with the wasabi underneath the squid to hold it onto the rice, but that squid texture came through and the flavor kind of came through. I kind of feel like they may have used too much rice in their rice balls on this because it's kind of overpowering the squid, which can be a delicate flavor. Let's try what I think is the bonito, which could also be tuna. It's bonito. And it is similar to tuna. It's got a similar sort of texture to bluefin tuna, but the flavor is slightly different, and I can't really explain it. I don't know how to explain the flavor of this. And before this trip, before yesterday, I can't say I was a fan of bonito, or maybe I had never really tried it, but after last night's bonito and this now, I think I'm starting to develop a love for bonito. Okay, I think I've had enough to just temper my hunger so I can last until dinner. Because dinner last night was a marathon and I don't want to be full for that tonight.
dinner was a marathon. That sushi platter
Yeah.
for apparently 2 people. I think that would have been enough to do me in, but we were determined to get through everything.
Yeah, it was good last night, but this was also really good. And we did also want to pop in here because we've read about this place and seen it and wanted to share it with all of you. It's a great place to come and get some food and reasonable prices. Like my sushi was only 350 yen. Your gyozas were about 400 yen.
No, they were 900 with the beer.
With the beer.
Yep.
And then your chicken wings and my croquette came to
300.
Yeah, 300. So reasonable food and really good. Like
The dumplings are amazing.
yeah, and everybody's bonito I've seen around at the various tables looks really, really good. I'm really fighting the urge to go get some because it looks so good and it was really good last night. But hope you enjoyed our little foray into this market, and if you're in town, come and check it out. It's right beside the castle, so you can go up there, build up an appetite exploring the castle, then pop right down here and get some food.
We thought we were done the food market and we were on the way out. And then this happened.
What is it?
Matcha green tea ice cream. And not only is it ice cream, she sprinkled matcha on top too. I'm such a sucker for ice cream. And I know why. So delicious. And this one's really high in cream concentration. It's very, very creamy. And the matcha is not bitter at all. It's just super flavorful. And since it's green, I'm just gonna tell myself it's extremely healthy. When you're doing a big trip or even a small trip, sometimes things don't work out. But then sometimes something mega amazing just falls on your lap. And that's what happened to us.
Yeah, we were in our ryokan last night. We had just gone in the onsen and we were sitting in their lounge, and you can see the castle from there off in the distance, and it was glowing with all kinds of lights changing and shifting, and we were trying to debate what that was.
I think at first we thought, my goodness, they have a big budget for their illuminations.
Yeah, or I thought they were starting like a Christmas illumination or something like that. And then when we came to the castle this morning, we found out that it was TeamLab doing an exhibit here at the castle. We were like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. TeamLab has actually had an exhibit going on in Tokyo, but we didn't have a chance to go see it. And plus it was really, really pricey in Tokyo. TeamLab is actually a collective of artists in Japan, and we did not get a chance to go in Tokyo. But oh my god, we're going in Kochi!
Yes, so we just left the ryokan. We went there for a little early onsen because we knew we would be going to this and then straight to dinner. And we've walked over and we're just about to go up and check it out. We can hear the cool music and we can see things glowing from down here. And we're really excited to go explore and see what they have going on up there up top with the castle.
Oh my god, this is so cool.
Yeah, this is amazing. The exhibit spans all around the castle. We're right in the big eggs right now, and there's different types of exhibits here, and it's just so fun to walk around and try to engage with the exhibits and change the colors. And I think the tunnel of the trees is the best though.
That is amazing. If we had knew about this in advance, we would have come especially just to come see this exhibit. That's how amazing it is. We would have really gone out of our way to see this.
I'm really glad we figured out why the castle was glowing last night.
We just thought they had a good light show initially, but no.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they had tickets available.
Yes.
Because they were selling these in advance. So, wow, what an amazing little outing tonight before dinner. This next exhibit allows you to color in a character, and they somehow scan it and put it into this moving scene. And when we first got here, there were only a few up in there, but now there's a ton, and hopefully soon ours will be in there. Your drawings of the shape.
Yeah, that's me. I'm dancing on the floor like a fool. What an amazing evening.
Yeah, that was insane. I can't believe we were able to pack all of that into like an hour and a half. We had to rush back for dinner, which is where we are now, about to start dinner. But we just wanted to pop on here and close out TeamLab. That was a really cool experience.
What was your favorite part of TeamLab?
I'm not sure I mean, the whole thing was just super cool. Like, we saw it earlier today, and everything was obviously just off. We saw all the lights set up, we saw the eggs set up, and I could not have fathomed that all would have transformed into what we saw tonight.
That's true.
It was just incredible. And walking through the eggs was super fun. I think the forest, you know, the oak trees, I think they called them, ginkgo trees. The ginkgo tree forest, they called it. That was incredible. I liked looking up at all the different leaves. Like there's maple leaf, ginkgo leaves, various trees in there, and watching them all change colors.
I thought that was the most beautiful part. The most fun part was the whacking of the eggs and making them change color. I like that, it's so interactive.
Yeah.
And the part that was surprisingly fun was the coloring of the figures.
Oh yeah.
We were going to skip that because we didn't have that much time towards the end, because we were like, dinner time. Don't want to miss anything there.
We were just rushing out when you were asking, do we have enough time to do it? And I said, not really, but let's go do it anyways.
Yeah.
And then we sat down, colored as quickly as we could. I would like to use that as the excuse why my coloring is so bad, even though that's not the real reason. But got them colored, and then they scanned them in, and somehow that transforms into what you saw on the panel.
It was really incredible. It actually was like seeing your work come to life.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. It was, I don't know what technology they're using, but it's pretty amazing. And just the whole thing was really well done. And then getting to go up all the way to the castle tower again and seeing it lit up was really neat. I really like the walkway. Like they had it, there's not a bridge, but it's a covered sort of walkway where they had waves going on it, and that was just incredible.
There was so much to do.
Yeah, so many things to see and interact with. They did a really good job up there on the castle hill. But we're back here for dinner, and we're quite hungry.
I see you eyeing our appetizer. Your eyes are darting down.
Well, all that interactive art, and then hauling butt back here because we were late, that made me really hungry. So I'm looking forward to this meal that we have here, our last meal at this ryokan before we head off to our next destination tomorrow. So let's tuck into this meal before they start bringing out the hot courses. That was very good. I'm not sure what it is, but the outside has an orange flavor. I had a center, like a creamy center, but the orange is the flavor that stands out to me. So far, the amuse-bouche course has been really good. There was a mochi with sesame sauce. There was some pumpkin that was carved into a leaf. There was one of these. We got 2 of these. I'm not sure what this is. It's covered in like little bits, crunchy bits. The interior is very soft. I'm not quite sure what that is. Very good.
Okay, so we are, I think this is our 3rd kaiseki meal, or 3rd ryokan meal, and I've come across the first thing that I put in my mouth and I just could not stomach it and had to spit it out. It's the dreaded water chestnut. It didn't look like water chestnut when I picked it up. I could smell this piece of cube and I didn't like the smell, but I was pushing myself and I was going to try it. But as soon as I bit into it, there was definite water chestnut in there and out it came. What did you think of it, Michael?
I actually really liked it. It had a very distinct flavor that I was having a really hard time putting my finger on, and then it finally hit me, and it was an odd association, but it reminded me of tuna fish salad. I'm not quite sure what it was. Maybe there's little chunks of onion in it, and must have been some fish in it, but yeah, that was the flavor that was hitting me, and I really liked it. It was really neat. Hiding underneath was one of these. It's a little stick of tiny little mochi balls, and I already ate my red one. That was Nicole's. I have 2 left. I'm not sure if they're flavored. I don't get much flavor out of them. Nicole tried the red one and does not like it. She's not a mochi person. They're really good. Nice little surprise hiding under there.
Our sashimi dish came, and tonight we got 4 different types of fishes. There's the tuna, red snapper, mackerel, and the 4th one I think definitely got lost in translation because she described it as chicken grunt. Chicken grunt? Don't know what it is. Usually I'm not a fan of mackerel at all, especially when they leave the skin on. So far all the other pieces of fish on my plate has been really good, so I'm gonna give this a whirl. I don't know, it's really good. I don't know if it's just this place or if mackerel is growing on me. The skin is not tough at all. It just kind of melts in with the rest of the fish. It's a firmer consistency than the tuna, and the fish flavor is also stronger than the tuna. Yep, it's growing on me. Really good.
When I saw the sashimi plate come out, I was slightly disappointed because there was no bonito on there, but a plate of bonito followed, and I'm really excited. It looks just like yesterday. It kind of looks like it's been maybe cooked over hay. The exterior seems like it's been grilled or charred somehow, but this one's a different preparation. This one's a different presentation, and it's a different way for us to eat it. So there's salt instead of the ponzu sauce. So we're supposed to sprinkle a little bit of salt on, a little bit of wasabi if we like, still a slice of garlic, and then pop it in the mouth and give it a whirl. So let's give it a try. That is my pot of rice steaming the shot. If you're wondering where all that steam was coming from. All right, here we go. Salt, wasabi, garlic. Quite a different flavor today with the salt versus the ponzu sauce from yesterday. I'm equally enjoying this one. I'm so shocked still that I'm enjoying the bonito. I don't know, maybe I've just had bad bonito in the past, but I just never was a fan. And this is huge slices, like really big pieces, and I'm loving it. So if you're in Kochi, search out bonito. It seems to be a real specialty here.
I really, really hate water chestnut. And then the next thing I hate after the water chestnut is daikon. And daikon is used a lot in Japanese cooking. I was going to tell the hotel not to put any daikon in my meal. And I thought, well, I won't bother this time because usually I can just pick it out. Well, that was a big mistake because they brought out the next dish, and the whole thing is smothered, like big time smothered in daikon gravy. But in the spirit of trying everything, here goes nothing. Come on, shrimp flavor, come through, come through. Actually, this shrimp is a very strong tasting shrimp. It's not one of those big ones. This is probably a medium-sized shrimp that's been cooked down to a smaller size, and the flavor is really concentrated. So the shrimp flavor is actually doing a good job fighting and covering the daikon flavor.
Our meat course tonight is very, very exciting. It's Wagyu, and it's cooked over a flame on one of these pots again, which I don't know the name of, but we had them yesterday. And I am really looking forward to trying one of these pieces of Wagyu. It's got a really good beefy flavor. The beef fat just kind of oozed out of it into the pot, so I'm moving mine around to get some more of that flavor up. And there was a little bit of butter in there as well, so there's a beef fat, butter mixing up in the pot. The part of the beef that was resting on the pot that was sitting in has a really deep caramelized crust on it, which is super tasty, and I get like a brown butter flavor out of that. This is really, really good. Okay, I'm gonna put you down and, as Nicole would say, be alone with my beef.
The next dish we have is a bit odd. So you've seen us eat tonkatsu a billion times, and then this trip you've seen us eat gukatsu. The chef in this hotel invented something called bonito katsu. I don't know if the chef here invented it, but I definitely have not heard of it before. So it's basically, he took some pork and bonito, mashed it together, and coated it in the tonkatsu coating, deep fried it, and served it to us in cutlet form. It's not bad, but I can say without a doubt, out of the three katsus that I had mentioned, the bonito / pork katsu is my least favorite. It is interesting though, because he found a new way to use bonito, and I think that bonito being such a prominent fish down here, it was very creative on his part. I hope you all enjoyed my description of the pork cutlet. I'm going to move on to the rice section of the meal now, because Michael, my co-host, is too drunk to film the rice section, so I'm in charge.
Oh good God.
I've actually been looking forward to eating this rice, because as I was eating the previous courses, the rice was cooking and it was steaming in my face, giving me a facial, and the smell was really good. I actually like this rice a lot more than yesterday's rice, because it's a lot plainer. Yesterday's rice was full of fish, and I think there was a plum in it, just a lot of ingredients. Today's rice just has chicken and ginger, so the flavors are much more simple, and the ginger is really fragrant. So I am really enjoying today's rice.
I think that's 2 for 2. Amazing meals here at the Ryokan. Enjoyed pretty much everything they brought out today. That was really good.
You enjoyed a bit more than me, because I had to deal with the daikon and the water chestnut debacle.
Yeah, and just like last night, we got 2 little carafes of sake, which I got to drink all of, and I am really looking forward to going to lie down and having a sleep.
That's why our video tonight has been skimmed down a little bit.
Yeah, as I got later into the meal, I felt less and less like filming, and kept handing Nicole the camera. I said, "Here, you do this one." So yeah, we just kind of did the highlights of tonight's meal. It was really good, very good meal.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll say goodnight now, because we're gonna basically waddle upstairs and fall into our futons and sleep. And tomorrow we're leaving Kochi. I can't believe we're only 2 nights here. I feel
Kochi is fantastic.
Yeah, we could have stayed a whole week, I think.
Yeah.
There's so many things to do in Kochi itself, and then there are also some really fun sounding day trips we could have done, but we just had the 2 nights. So this was a dip in to test the waters, and I think we like it. We'll probably be back for an extended stay. But tomorrow we're moving on to our next destination. So we better get some sleep. We have a bit of a train trip again tomorrow.
Good night?
Good night.
Is that what you're trying to say?
I
Good
am
night?
trying to say good night.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed exploring Kochi Castle and experiencing the TeamLab exhibit with us. If you enjoyed the video, please let us know by giving it a like down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. We'll see you next week.